Welcome to the tutorials that we're doing. Today's tutorial is digital coloring on Open Canvas. As I said before, my version is version 4. If any of the tools that I've shown you aren't on there, uh, which they should be, just kind of make do with what you have. Uh, First off, we want to start with the base coloring. So take your, say, the skin and the clothing, and just kind of make your base idea of what you're doing. Uh, I set up a little palette thing for myself so it's a little faster for me to do this tutorial. Basically what you want to do is start off on your layer that you have for your base coloring. Just make another either a standard layer or a multiple layer, as it shows right here, the multiple layer. And then take a slightly darker color. Say for this one, we want to take this color. And just take the airbrush tool, average it around like 92 to 85, and just kind of put where the shadows would be. So like this. So kind of gives it more depth to the skin coloring. For that, like this. So it kind of gives it a little bit more depth as you go. Don't worry about going off the lines or anything. You can erase that as you go. So just kind of make sure it all evens out as best as you can. There we go. And if you want to make a little bit more depth to it, you can make another layer, either standard or multiple. I'm using standard just for makes it a little bit easier to show you. And you take a little darker color like this, and just make it a little bit more of a depth to it. So, like so. As you can see, it sort of comes together. And just kind of even it out as you go, little by little. And there we go. So that's the shadows that you're going to do. And then for myself, this is what I do for as a little creative idea. Take an additional layer, as it shows here. Take an additional, and then select a brighter color. It's always best to zoom in at this, and just take the outside of the image, like so, and just kind of put it on the outside. It's always good to thin it out as you go, just to make it a little bit more even. But since I'm trying to do this as fast as I can, not going to worry about that too much. As you see, it kind of gives it a glow effect, which makes it a little bit more prettier, as they say. See, as you zoom out, kind of gives it a glow, and the more thin it gets, more defined it makes it. So, anyways, after I finish that up, okay. After you do that, you make another additional layer. Make another additional layer there, and take the airbrush tool one more time, and just take the light. See where the light's coming from, say like this, and just kind of color it to make it stand out a little bit more, like so. Then go back to the yellow layer. Just kind of give it some lines like this, like that. Just give it a shine. Just thin it out so it's not as big. See, like that. And that's pretty much what you have to do. There's not much to it. You just kind of have to fool around with the the shadows and just make them more defined as they go, to make it a little bit more of a 3D effect type idea. And I'll do it on the clothes just to show you again. So what you do, I'll do a multiple on this one. So you take multiple layer. Let's see, it's multiple now. Turn that off. Select a darker color. Take your airbrush tool and just try and make it, give it some depth. This might be a little bit too dark. There we go. You might want to brighten it up a little bit as you go too, because you don't want it too dark, or else it all blends together and looks not as good. So there we go. And after you're done that, you make another additional layer, or at least two of them. One you do for the lines on the outside, like so. Like that. See, it gives a nice bright effect to it. Certain colors come out better than others, so it's kind of gotta fool around with which ones you have. Like this one, blue comes out really good on the additionals. Kind of gives you an idea. Just gotta fool around with it so it looks good. That's where the practice part comes in play. Just gotta play around with it. Either way. There we go. And then you take the other additional layer, and you take the airbrush again, and just give it some lighting. As you can see. And there we go. And that kind of gives you the basic idea of how to color pretty much really quickly, and that's how I get some of my stuff done as fast as I can. Not too much, not too hard or anything. There are some little tricks that you can do a little later on. Say if you want to do some transparencies or something like that, you just hit this button over here. So I take, say this one, take the transparency, zoom in just to make it a little bit easier to see. Take this button, just make the transparency, as you see in the picture. Or if you want to shut down the color so you can see something underneath, just hit this button right here. And that's pretty much that concludes the coloring. Well, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully I'll have some different tips later on. And have a good day. Bye.